Cool.
Okay.
Officially recording. And thank you guys all who have joined already. Maybe we'll get a few more people who join the call as well as we get going here. But this is the 56th ever Knowledge Drop. It's cool that we've been doing this so long at this point. We have so many great topics. But I'm really excited for you to cover your topic. Because actually somebody else reached out to me and was like, hey, Yvette should do a Knowledge Drop. She's really got some great info on in this world that you have a mastery of being a certified master life coach and all that stuff. But I'll let you cover that part. I'll just cover the housekeeping really quick before we get into this. So basically, I already mentioned this, but there is a chat box. Feel free to set that to all panelists and attendees, everybody that's in here, so that anything you type in, everybody can see. Also, there's a Q&A box at the bottom of the Zoom room. So feel free to jump in the Q&A box and type in any questions that you might have for Yvette. We're hoping to have 5-10 minutes at the end of this to actually do some live Q&A. So put those in there as they come up as Yvette's going through her slide deck. And then also, as I mentioned, this is getting recorded. So this will live on forever as long as the internet exists on our YouTube Knowledge Drop archive. So you can always, rewatch this later, share it with somebody that you think might benefit from Yvette's wisdom on the subject. And with all of that out of the way, let me pass it over to you. I'll put myself on mute and let you take it away from here. But thanks again for doing this. I'm excited. Let's go for it.
Okay. So now's the time I share my slides, right? Okay.
Boom.
And just one question: you're gonna be monitoring the chat box for me, correct?
Yes, 100%.
All right. Sounds good. And let me figure out. You told me this yesterday. Present. There we go. All my genies know I'm not the techno wizard, and they have to help me out. So it says it's loading. I'm not sure what the problem is. We went over this yesterday. While it's loading, while it's loading that up, I'll just go ahead and warn you guys. I have had a cold this week, so I may start hacking in your ear. I hope that doesn't happen. And I've got cough drops and water at the ready. I'm here at the workspace, so I'm wondering why this is taking so long. I gotta love it.
You can try to
Travis,
maybe
should I stop sharing and try it again?
Or I don't think it's a screen share that's not working. I think it's just the slide deck maybe having a hard time. So maybe try to go out of present mode and back into present mode or something like that. But we'll figure it out.
Let's try it again.
It's called the demo effect. Right. We'll make this happen. I have faith in us. Sometimes tech can bite you in the butt.
Yeah, or not. Or we won't get it figured out. Okay, so I'm going to try it again. Stop sharing.
Yeah, find the deck. Bring it back up. Maybe I don't know. Something went weird with that URL, but
yeah, I'm not sure where the deck went. There's the deck again. Okay, I've got it back. Let's try this again. Share. Okay, can you see my screen now?
Yeah, it's going to happen this time. I feel it. I definitely
All
feel
right,
it.
let's do it. Present.
Now.
Yes,
Nice.
thank you. See,
Perfect.
You're bringing the genie magic, so thank you. Okay, so this is our knowledge drop for today. Stop the mind drama and get it done already. And we will start right in. I want to run this conversation, by the way, like a little bit more like a conversation. So Travis, please feel free to interrupt with things going on in the chat box and ask any questions you have. I hope you'll comment back and forth as well. So what's about, now then, why is it not letting me do this? I did this last night. There we go. What's about to drop? I'm going to talk to you about how to take the drama out of situations that are bothering you. I'm going to help you see that you have more control over the circumstances than you know. I'm going to give you proof of that. I'm going to give you steps to overcome any roadblocks on your way to your goals and things you're trying to accomplish. And then the last, I'm going to give you tools for shifting how you experience any circumstance. And there's no meditation required. So that's my favorite part. I try to meditate, but it doesn't always work. Why am I dropping this? I'm a master life coach. I've been practicing life coaching on myself and with clients for over 10 years. I work with clients personally and professionally on their personal and professional lives. and a little bit about, what some of my clients say. They, one recently told me she had a lot of therapy, and the tools that I was teaching her helped her way more than any therapy she'd had. And then another client of mine, he told me that he's noticed that he's laughing every day. I like that. That sounds good to me. So now then, you get to look at my beautiful dog, Bodhi. I put him up there because who doesn't like to look at beautiful dogs? And it was this time last year that I had to say goodbye to him. But while you're looking at Bodhi, I want to give you this prompt. I want you to write down 3 situations that are currently causing you grief. Something you're upset about, something you wish were different. Maybe it's in your business, maybe it's in a relationship, or something with work, a goal you have, you want to earn an extra $10,000 this year and it's not happening. Whatever is giving you grief. 3 situations. And then when you've finished that, I want you to list 3 things you want to accomplish in the next 90 days. It can be anything from I want to grow out my hair to I want to travel to 10 countries in 10 days. You decide. Something light, something heavy, big, small. So as you're finishing that up, I wanted to also mention the reason I put my dog up here as well is because the thing that makes us different from other animals, as much as we love them, is that they don't suffer because of thinking. They don't sit around and, Bodhi would have reactions to things. A dog would walk by and he'd like to bark, but he wasn't sitting there in the window thinking, why is that poodle going through my yard? Or why doesn't that boxer use his own yard as a bathroom? They don't have suffering because of anything that they are experiencing. But we humans don't have that luxury. We tend to make up stories about what's going on, and this is what causes us a lot of grief. And you may notice that as you think about the 3 situations that I've given you, or that you've written down about what's giving you grief. So why do we bother to manage our minds? I put this slide up here. This is actually a picture from Valencia, as many of you will recognize. And I put this up here because it looks to me like this guy has chopped his head off. Some other people who've seen it said that it looks like he's just holding his head in his hands. But either way, it signifies to me that this guy is having a lot of grief over what's going on in his head. So the reason to even bother to think about what's going on in our minds is because as you begin to learn to manage your mind, you're going to find that you have emotional stability that will allow you to grow yourself bigger and bigger, to evolve yourself into a bigger version of you, and to evolve your life and your work life and your personal life into something that probably would blow your own mind. Like right now, you may not even be able to conceive of being able to reach this bigger picture of yourself. And a lot of that is because you spend so much time on the roller coaster of drama that your mind likes to create. So the reason to even bother with this idea of managing your mind is so that you can achieve things without being sidetracked and derailed by the anxiety that's created when you go for something bigger. Deepak Chopra says our imagination, our minds can be used either for anxiety or creativity. We're either worrying about something and creating anxiety for ourselves, or we're creating something. And so I want to help you be on the side of creating something valuable for yourself versus creating anxiety because of the mind drama that's constantly going on. So Travis, if you want to stop me at any point, I'm kind of watching the slide deck, but wave big and hopefully I will see you and we can move on from there. This is a little diagram of your brain, very simplistic, obviously. And we're going to talk about this reptilian part of your brain here at the bottom in red. And we're going to talk about the neocortex. So the neocortex is the part that separates us from animals in terms of our human neocortex allows us to think, plan, process things about the future. But this reptilian brain that's running in the background. It's the most primitive part that evolved the quickest and first before our neocortex. This is what it's doing all the time. It is running around in the background and screaming at you anytime you try to go for something bigger in your life. So this is why I talk about your brain in terms of goal accomplishment, because there's nothing like setting a goal for yourself to set off that primitive lizard that wants to run around in the background and scream, oh no, you need to get back in the cave, or you need to get back in your comfort zone, or this is unfamiliar, let's don't do this, it doesn't feel good. And that's just because your primitive brain is doing its job. It's there trying to keep you safe. That's what its purpose is. So we don't need to make that mean anything or to tell ourselves a story that something has gone wrong when we have these fear reactions or this anxiety come up. You just need to manage that so you can move forward toward what you want. So let's talk about the 4 steps to accomplishing any goal, since goals are the avenue that we're going to travel to learn to manage our minds. The 4 steps to accomplishing a goal are to know what it is you want, to decide to go all in on what you want, to say no to everything that isn't that, and to involve others. So what does it mean to know what you want? Half the time, that's, I think, why people don't set goals, is because they don't want to admit that they have something they really want. Because once you say, oh, I want this, then you have to deal with all the mental drama that comes up that says to you, oh, but you can't really have it, and who do you think you are? Or, you know, now if I say it to somebody, then they're going to want to hold me accountable, and people are going to know that this is what I'm trying to accomplish. So a lot of times we set goals that, or we don't set them, and we act like we don't know what we really want because it keeps us safe. Again, back to that reptilian brain. But here's how you know if your goal is a good one or not. If your goal doesn't scare the bejesus out of you in some way, it doesn't cause some form of anxiety, then it's not big enough for you. It's beneath you. So just give you that little challenge for setting larger and larger goals for yourself. Number 2 step in setting goals is to decide to go all in. So what does that look like? This is John Assaraf and myself. I get so many laughs about this because it looks like we're like a couple married in this. No, not so much. He's definitely got a different wife, not me. But John Assaraf talks about this idea of going all in. So he asks the question, are you interested or are you committed to different goals? So when we set a goal for ourselves, the way we can know if we're interested or if we're committed is if we are interested, we'll do what's convenient. Oh yeah, okay, I slept in well, so I'll start writing today because I feel good or I feel inspired. That's doing a goal, writing, let's say, because it's convenient. But if you're committed, you will do whatever it takes. And so the difference is, again, let's use the example of writing. A lot of people want to write a book. Well, but you know, I just didn't feel like it today. Nothing inspired me. Or I was out late last night having a good time and I wanted to sleep in. I didn't want to get up and write like I have committed to myself that I would do. That lets you know whether or not you've gone all in. And going all in will make the difference in achieving your goal or not. And it's also how you begin to deal with the mind drama that comes up when you start to go for something. Number 3 step is say no to everything that isn't that, meaning everything that's not your goal, just say no. This really comes into play when we think about things that we do to soothe ourselves or to, one of my mentors calls it buffer. So you will understand what these things are. Oh gosh, I've just got to go get that drink of water instead of sitting down. Or you sit down, all of a sudden you got to get up and, oh, those dishes need cleaning. Or, oh, did I forget to turn off the oven? Let me check. Or maybe it's, wow, I have just blown through 2 hours of Netflix. How did I get here? Because you didn't say no to everything that wasn't your goal. And that's the way you know that you're not going all in for yourself. The last way to set an accomplished goal is to involve others. friends, mentors, accountability groups, a coach, or all of the above. We all accomplish more if we have support and accountability. And one person, if you will, we'll call it, we'll say it as this, one person to really involve is your future self. And this is what I mean by this. This is what this looks like. So this graphic of this baby who's growing into an adult woman, think about it this way. This baby set up this future self woman in many ways, because the baby learned to walk. They started to crawl, and then they started to walk, and they began to fall down, and it hurt. But they didn't just give up and say, nobody's going to care if I walk or not. I'm just going to sit here. No, that baby kept after it and kept after it and kept after it. And that keeping after that goal of learning to walk allowed for the toddler who's holding the bear to walk off and get the bear, and then allowed for the little girl to walk to school, and allowed for the adult woman to go out and do her thing in the world in an easy fashion. This is a very simplistic example, but I want to encourage you to set up your future self by making choices today. Make sure your present self is making choices today that will set up your future self to be the person they want to be and to experience the life they want to experience. I know our time is getting close, so I feel like I'm like speed racer running through these things, but we're going to move on to the one tool that I promised to teach you, and this is called the model. Now, this model is a tool you can use when you set your goals, when you're at your writing desk, let's say, again, to use that example, and your mind wants to run off with you and it doesn't want to do what you want it to do. This tool was developed by Brooke Castillo, a mentor of mine. It's called the self-coaching model. So the model runs like this. We have circumstances in our lives. We have thoughts about those circumstances. Then those thoughts generate our feelings. Those feelings generate our actions. And then we get results. Circumstances, just to show you what those are, we think that, XYZ person treated me badly, that's a circumstance. That's not a circumstance. Actually, that's a thought. A circumstance is a fact or a situation that can be objectively proven, such as XYZ said this, or the house burned down. That's something objective that is easily provable. There's no conjecture in that. Where the conjecture comes in and where our stories come in is when we get to our thoughts, the T portion of the model. The thoughts are the sentences we have in our minds about the circumstance. For example, when so-and-so, when Jim said what he did, he was berating me. So berating, the addition of that into the circumstance is a thought. You could have 100 people in the room and 10 of them would say, yeah, he was berating her, he shouldn't have done that. And you could have 10 others that say, no, he was totally justified in how he was talking to her. That's what a thought is. The other thought here in our example is, we lost everything when the house burned down. The introduction of the word everything is the thought portion. Then from our thoughts that we have, that's what creates our feelings. We think that the circumstance creates our feelings, but it's not the circumstance. It's the thought we have about the circumstance that creates our feelings. Feelings are just emotions that we have and concepts that we have in our minds, and we feel them in our bodies. Now, the actions are the things that we do. We again like to say that we do XYZ because of what the circumstance is, but that's never the case. We do what we do because of the thoughts that we have about the circumstance. And the last in the model is the results. And this is what we create in our lives. And we create these results in our lives, again, because of the thoughts. And this is the reason to get a handle on your mind and get your thoughts under your own control rather than letting them control you. So with that being said, I'm going to switch. I think this is my last slide. Yes, there it is. And Travis, if you'll come back on and tell me what questions you have, what comments you have, what is anybody saying in the chat room? Do you have a situation of your own that you'd like to run through the model? I'd like to run through the model with you on. all of that.
Cool. The chat box was active. Rich was saying, "Don't go too fast. This is great stuff." So people
we
were
only have
feeling
30
it.
minutes.
That's true. That's true. We do have only like 7 minutes
Sorry.
left. But yeah, so this is all of your info. Are you happy if people reach out to you if they have further questions about any of this after we finish up today, or?
Absolutely.
Sure.
I'm happy to
Okay.
answer questions.
Cool. So reach out to Yvette on Slack if you guys have any other questions. But let's maybe jump out of screen share. Then we just go back to the two of our faces. And I do have a couple questions, a couple thoughts.
Okay.
And
There we go.
perfect. So I had me thinking of a few things. One thing is, I was wondering if you'd ever heard of the idea from Warren Buffett that's called the 5-25 rule. It's like this.
I have not. Educate me.
So it's like this famous story. It's actually like a workshop that like I've run with a few different RY communities where it basically just show this YouTube video that gives the background of this story, but it's very kind of similar. It's not quite all in as your idea of like, if the thing is not your goal, don't even think about it. But it's basically the story of Warren Buffett had a pilot for years, and he really like just had a great relationship with his pilot. And Warren Buffett's rich, so he has his own pilot. And at some point he was like, well, what do you want to accomplish with your life? Write down 25 goals you have. And then he asked the pilot, so what do you think, with these 25 goals, like, how do you think you should approach them? And the pilot was like, well, I think, work a little bit at each one and as you go or whatever. And Warren Buffett was like, no, circle 5, erase the rest. So that was like his rule of basically like, it's easy. It's like a temptation to be like, well, I want to, get better at in these 20 ways or whatever, and slowly try to work at them. But that was resonating with me a lot of like, just the idea that if you have something that you prioritize as like the top thing you want to accomplish, you kind of have to neglect everything else that feels like it's getting in the way of that. If you really are committed, if you go all in, as we're saying. So I like that a lot.
Absolutely. And, to that point, this is the thing that I find so interesting about goals, and what I've learned as I've up-leveled in my own life with the goals that I set for myself, is that I used to think that it was the goal that was the important thing. Oh, when I get there, then X, Y, Z, I'll feel this way, or I'll feel that way, or I won't worry as much, whatever it is. And a lot of us think that. But I have shifted to realizing that what is important about setting a goal is not the achievement of that goal, but it's who I get to become and grow into on my way to that goal. And so back to this point of, oh, you don't just cross off all the other 5. If you start out with just one goal, and as you achieve it, you will be able to see a different landscape from it having achieved that goal. And you may have a totally different set of 5 goals at that point. So don't muddy up the waters with 20 goals. Pick one, get it, and then see what else is out there. See what's on the horizon from that vantage point.
I love that. And actually, Lindsay, so we got a question from Lindsay Jensen. She's saying she thinks like, on the model that you were showing us, the hardest part is obviously changing your thoughts about the circumstances. So she's asking if you have any like specific tools or suggestions or advice for how to actually change those thoughts. Like, it's like, it feels like one of those things that's maybe a little easier said than done, right? So if you have like any specific tools or things that you've practiced or done that help you change your thoughts to not react negatively to a circumstance, but yeah.
Yeah. So here's the thing. The first thing is awareness. And we don't like to start there because we want the how. Okay, great. I can make my own results if I just change my thoughts. How do I do that? Tell me. But we can't jump there because our thoughts are based on patterns of thought and beliefs that we've had probably for years. And that's what's, again, like that little lizard running in the background. They're running in the background, screaming at you all the time. So the way I like to talk about it is to start from the results. So if you have a result that you're getting that you don't like, back to those 3 things that are causing you grief, that's a result that you're getting that you don't like. So when you look at that result, go back in your mind and do a thought download about that situation. That will bring up awareness about why you're getting the result you're getting. And it will show you that it's your thoughts that are creating that situation. And I'm happy to go through that. If you have a situation you want to share, I'm happy to go through that. So maybe it can, illuminate this better for Lindsay, or if she has one she wants to share.
Lindsay, do you have any challenges? let me see if she types something. Otherwise, I can come up with something.
Okay.
She said she doesn't have one at the top of her mind.
Okay. Well, Travis, do you have one? You were sharing with me something yesterday. Would you be willing to share that today?
Yeah, for sure. So, I mean, I think, and I've shared this a lot, I think, in our community, and it's even on my Instagram bio. So it's not a secret, but I'm trying to write a book. Well, it's hard for me to even call it a book because I feel like that feels like self-important or something, but I'm trying to write something.
Okay, stop right there. You just laid it out right there. So notice, everyone, Travis's thought is, it feels self-important to write a book. Is it any wonder why he hasn't written this book yet? Because who wants to deem themselves self-important?
I've written a lot of it, right? But I struggle with I struggle with treating it in my own mind like something that matters and like it is a book. Like I keep calling it an ebook because that seems like less important. But then also, I just struggle with prioritizing it over, work, health, and all the other things that feel important too. Because obviously, like most of us, I lead a pretty busy life, and it makes most days feel full. And it's like the easiest thing to just push off my plate, even if I went to bed the night before thinking I'll spend an hour writing tomorrow. So yeah, I find myself, because I also don't have a deadline, right? It's like it's easy to procrastinate when I don't have a boss being like, that's due Friday. It's just me saying like, I'd like to get this book into the world at some point. So that also just, I think, makes it really easy for me to, push it further and further off into the distance. And yeah, I'm trying to be good. Like, I think I mentioned this the other day. I'm trying to be good about this month specifically because being in Asia and Bali right now, I don't wake up like feeling like I have to work, because everybody I work with and every, buddy, for the most part in the remote year universe is like still asleep. So I can wake up in the morning and spend some time on it before I feel like I really have to get into work mode or whatever. So anyway, that's something I've been, kind of like grappling with, but also, not feeling only bad about it, because I also feel pretty proud that I think like the first draft of the book is about 80% done, and it could have remained a thought that I should write a book for forever and never done anything about it. So I have done something about it. So yeah, to be gentle to myself, I think I've also, managed to get somewhere with it, basically.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's great. And definitely beating up on yourself is not going to be of any service to you. And that is also the point of looking at your thoughts, because our thoughts are either serving us or they're not serving us. It's not that they're good or bad, positive or negative. It's not like, oh, let's whitewash a bunch of positive thoughts over what we've got going here. No, that's not really helpful. What's helpful is to decide, what am I thinking? And you do that by doing a thought download. In Travis, if you watch this back, you'll see that you laid out a lot of thoughts.
I was kind of just doing that live, huh?
Yeah, it flows out of us because we all tell stories all the time. We make up stories about what's going on for us. That's our excuse is not the right word, because we have a bad connotation with that, but that's how we justify in our minds what's happening. But it's that justification that is not serving us most of the time. It's not serving what we're trying to accomplish. So if you look back at this, you'll see again that you have a lot of story going about, I did do it, I didn't do it, it is good, it isn't good, whatever. I'm self-aggrandizing if I write it, and it's only an ebook, and then I'm only aggrandizing myself. I mean, all these different things.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, and I think, that's natural. It's like we're all telling some type of story. So I think all of this has been really interesting. So thank you. And actually, Rich Rama, one of my good buddies, wrote in here, do you mind if he shares his 4 steps to accomplish any goal in the Remotivators channel, which is one of our Slack channels that he, I think, helped create and put some, energy into. And then he was like, yes, Trav, this is a plug for Remotivators. So that's a Slack channel that you check out. I think Rich is going to add something in there and wants your feedback on.
Okay.
And the last little thing I wanted to add is, like, this is actually from this guy, Jeremy, who used to work at Remote Year. He was our head of HR for years. And he put this mantra in my head that has actually helped me with, like, the way that I think about a lot of situations. Because, things sometimes go awry, and he would always say, a challenge is an opportunity. And I think it's like a great way to frame how to think of something that could easily be perceived as a negative, as like, no, this is an opportunity. Like, we have this issue that we have to like solve or fix or adjust. It's like, think of it as an opportunity and like try to approach it with like optimism, and that will make us better or whatever. So yeah, I think that's like a good mindset sort of like thing you know, a post-it note to put on the mirror type of thing that might help keep what you were just, you know, sharing with us top of mind, because it's easy to let this stuff slip away too and get into the grind again. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So thank you so much for this opportunity. And yes, if anybody wants to reach out, this is what I do with my private clients all day, every day. So I'm happy to help you and talk with you about what your mind drama and where you want to go, where you are, and how to help you get there.
Well, thank you, Yvette. And thank you, everybody who joined. I love when we do these and people show up and support the community and learn new things from the community. So this is wonderful, and you are great. And we'll have another one of these in 2 weeks. So we'll see you then.
Okay. All right. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.